Hi, loves. Welcome to a new episode of the AW Confidential podcast. Growing up, the women I saw on screen were dainty, somewhat I perceived them as powerless. They didn't appear to be very strong characters. But modern times, thankfully, has changed all that. Adia Smith-Eriksson plays Ranger West in the new Netflix film Atlas, starring Jennifer Lopez, Sterling K. Brown, and Simu Liu. Um, I watched the movie. It was absolutely entertaining. Adia, first of all, has, she's, excuse my French, she is such a badass. She has been seen She has been seen in movies like Barry and Odd Man Rush, but this was fire. And she is with us today to talk a little bit about the role in Atlas. Now, Atlas is a film. The story revolves around a government analyst called Atlas Shepard, who is played by Jennifer Lopez. She spends years chasing an AI Harlan, who's played by Liu, who became a terrorist, and he wants to, of course, take over the human world, as most. I'm not even gonna go there, but he's a really powerful character. So anyway, long story short, the story takes an interesting turn as we find out why Atlas's character operates the way that she does. Now, Adia, Ranger West, is one of the women in battle with this nemesis by the name of Harlan. Adia, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. This movie I'm sorry I used that word, but there is no other way to describe it. The power on screen was so much fun to watch. I loved it. I really did.
I'm happy you
Now,
enjoyed it.
yeah, I did. It's an entertaining film. It has a great cast, action, explosions, AI, which is a hot topic, and I did love that aspect about it because I use like Chat GPT, and I learned so much just watching the movie. It was pretty awesome. Now, the interesting thing about this film was that it also has heart, and I literally there was a scene that I was in tears, and that was unexpected. It was truly unexpected.
Which
And
which scene, can I ask?
it's the scene, I don't wanna give too much away, but it's when Atlas has that last moment with, I think it's Smith.
Yeah, that got me
I
too.
was
I killed it
I
with the
was in
voice as well.
tears,
Yeah.
and my daughter calls me and she says she's 21, she watches it, she said, "Did you cry at that moment?" I knew exactly what she was talking about. It was that connection.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's a it's artificial intelligence, but it told such a beautiful story in that moment, and that connection to me was everything. It just kind of put icing on the cake. Now, watching the film, there are very strong female characters in the film, which I felt was truly empowering, and I loved it. And it's just something else to watch women in power. And I'm sort of it leaves me wondering, when considering potential roles, do you intentionally look for strong characters? And how important do you think it is for us to see powerful women in roles like Atlas and Ranger West?
Well, I'm always super grateful when one of these characters comes my way. And it is nice to kind of see that as a reflection of who I am also. I do think it's so important that we have that representation out there, that little girls can see that women are just as capable of being strong and badass. I mean, we have all these strong female leads. I mean, look at J-Lo in our film. You have Ella Pennell in Fallout. Like, Charlize Theron kills it in every film she's in. And I just think, like, growing up with these role models and being able to see that, like, it's so important. And if I can someday count myself along one of these names or like as one of these badass women on screen, then like that would be a dream come true, honestly.
I love it. I love it. I can see that. I can see that. That will come. That will come for sure. Now, did you did growing up, did you try to sort of look for women, who were powerful characters, or you just didn't think about it? I know I didn't growing up. It just wasn't visible.
Well, I had my mom, and I've always looked up to my mom as like a source of strength. She's always been like this. She's always been like one of my biggest role models, honestly. And I would say that in comparison, I was definitely not the super strong, capable one growing up. I mean, she tried putting me in karate lessons when I was a child, and I ran away from my opponent. Like I was not ready for it at that age. But it's kind of one of those things that you just kind of grow into, you know? And
I
I'm definitely enjoying kind of getting that training now. I'm doing taekwondo and like learning stunts. And I think it's like really fun being able to take that power back and learning these skills for myself, not just to be able to use on screen, but also just to be able to like protect myself generally and have like basic level of defense, you know?
And I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. But before I move to that question, you had such an amazing cast around you. And that is just, it's a blessing. I mean, it's pretty, it must be a pretty awesome experience. You had Lopez, Liu, Brown, and the supporting cast, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, can you share anything you learned on the set from any one of them that you feel you will take with you as you go, move forward with your acting career?
I think like showing up with a level of professionalism and ready to work, but also finding the joy in it. I mean, that's one thing that I really admired about Sterling is that like he made it such an enjoyable experience. Like he comes in with this super charismatic persona and like just cracking jokes. And I think that helps us not take it too seriously, right? I mean, like we're all there, and especially for me, this is like the biggest production I've been on. And like you kind of walk in feeling green and not wanting to like, it's that thing when you walk into someone's house and not wanting to walk around with your shoes on too much, you know? And like through that, it's kind of like learning that, oh, it's okay to take space and it's okay to like, I deserve to be here too. And I think, yeah, just kind of taking it in your stride and like feeling comfortable and be like, at the end of the day, we're all here to have fun and create
Own
something
it.
awesome together, you know?
I love that. That's a great one to take with you. And
Mm,
and it's empowering in itself, isn't it?
yeah.
Because you're walking into, spaces where you as you continue to grow, the spaces, the ensembles will be bigger. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's so that'll be great. That's a great lesson for you to take with you. Now, I do want to go back to that point that you made. In real life, I love it. I'm so excited. You are a bad to the bone kind of girl. I I so now I learned that you practice taekwondo, which I didn't know. But you also, outside of acting and taekwondo, you are a classically trained pianist. Kudos to you. And you hike, you climb, you roller skate, and you enjoy the slopes. Do you
Yeah.
ever sleep? Do you ever rest?
I mean,
Where does
you
that
know, we
thirst
actually
where
kind
does
of,
that but I'm wondering, like, where does that thirst for adventure come from?
I mean, I think just like, I mean, I've always kind of enjoyed adrenaline, like based sports. Like I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I love like
No,
go-karting,
really?
like
I
all those
couldn't have guessed.
things. But I
I
think
was reading your
honestly,
bio. I was reading your bio and I was waiting for like, hella ski jumping, like something crazy. Because I could
okay,
see it.
not that level. I don't have a death wish. I want to like toe the line of doing it safely, but like having enjoyment for it. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I mean, I've always kind of enjoyed it, but like, I think it really kicked off even more after the pandemic. Like, I think after being restricted and stuck indoors for so long, and then suddenly the opportunity presented itself to go back to doing all these things, I was like, I'm gonna do it even more. So, and like, I'm actually gonna go skydiving with my friend for the first time in Hawaii
That
this summer.
that's on my bucket list. Oh,
Yes,
you
I
have
was
to
like,
tell me. You have to tell me about that when you do it.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't done it. Why not? You know, like it might be a once in a lifetime thing. Like I don't know that I'll do it again. Like we'll see.
I have
But like,
friends who've done it like dozens of times.
yeah. Well, I'm
Yes.
super excited. So yeah, no, that's something I'm really looking forward
I'm
to.
so excited for well, that answers my next question. What have you not done that you're, wanting to do?
Skydiving. Yeah. That's yeah,
Well,
that's
I
coming
have it
up.
on my bucket list, so I'll wait for you to do it and then maybe I'll try.
When I make it
So
down unscathed, I'll let you know. Yeah.
you will, you will. It'll be the biggest adrenaline rush so far, I'm sure. So you mentioned your mother. I read that your mom is a karate trained former police officer. That
Yeah.
alone that's
She's a
badass,
badass.
man.
Yeah, she's a
That's so
badass.
cool. I could see it as I was reading, I was like, "Ah, this all makes sense." So, growing up with such and the way I envision it, and I'm sure she had a soft side, but, growing up with a strong, empowered maternal figure, how do you think that impacted you as you have evolved into the woman you are today? Because I'm sure it's impacted you in different ways, actually.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just being able to have that presence in my life growing up and seeing her strength, feeling it, and just kind of knowing that like, oh, that's achievable, and seeing that she doesn't take bullshit from anyone, you know, sorry, excuse my French there.
You could no,
Like,
we're
you
all
know,
adults. It's okay.
you know, and like, and I love that no nonsense kind of attitude, and I really try and take that with me. And sometimes when I find myself in certain situations, I'm like, okay, what would she do? Like, how would she deal with this? You know? And I still apply that to this day. I mean, I just have so much respect for her. She's so cool.
She sounds very cool.
Yeah.
Now, is there any particular lesson that you learned from her that because here we're all about lessons. I mean, we're here to learn, to grow, to evolve. Excuse me. So, is there any lesson that you've learned from her that you feel you will always take with you? And I know there's so many of them, but is there one particular one that sticks out for you?
I think not compromising on myself and my own morals and values is something that I've definitely learned from her. And like doing things because I want to, not because I expect anything in return, right? Because I think a lot of times if you go in with this expectation that like, okay, if I do this, then like I expect that I'll get that back. And I kind of, as I've grown up, been like, you know what? I'm just doing the thing because I want to do the thing. If I want to help you, I'm doing it because that just feels like the right thing to do, you know? And I think that's definitely something that I've carried with me.
I love that. And is there anything that you would do differently than your mom would? That's a
I
plot twist.
think I like that one. I think the thing I do differently to my mom is like for all her coolness and stuff, I think I'm a slightly softer version of her, and I think that's somewhat required at times, you know, finding that balance a little more. Because like, yeah, I think it's like finding the nice like evening out of the two, right? Being that badass, but also having that softness also, you know, a little more. Not saying she
It's
doesn't
that
have the
sweet
softness at
spot,
all.
that sweet
Like,
spot.
because she also has
That's
the softness to
hard.
her. I'm not saying she doesn't, but like I think just like maybe a little more sometimes could be, you know,
I
appreciated.
and we have to also take into account, right? Our moms are different generation.
Yeah.
So, they grew up differently. I remember my grandmother was a tough nut to crack. And then
Oh
my
yeah.
mom was just a little bit softer, not too soft. She was a tough lady. But I'm trying to sort of get that balance, like find that sweet spot. And I think, as generations go by, I mean, the hope is that we continue to evolve and be
Yeah.
better. So I think that makes total sense. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, so one of the things that I love to do at towards the end of the interview is ask our guests for a quote, mantra, or piece of advice for our community. And being that you are such a badass, people might look at you and say, wow, she's so strong, she's so empowered, and sort of assume that that might be you all the time. But I believe that no matter what you see on the outside, we all have our days, we all have our, our adversity, our challenges, and we cannot be strong all the time. It's just not the part of the human experience. So for anyone listening who perhaps feels exhausted from life's challenges or difficulties, and can you share maybe some encouraging words that help you when you're not feeling your best?
I think after everything, like, you know, the older you get and you deal with loss and grief and all these things, and I think finding that motivation to keep going, relationships that come and go, honestly, I've just kind of really, you know, the song "Que sera, sera,"
Yes.
yeah, I love that because I really have kind of been carrying that with me. Is that like, I have no idea what tomorrow holds. I didn't know I was going to book Atlas. If you'd asked me when I came over here, did I think I was going to book this film? No. You know, and I think just kind of taking one day at a time and like, yeah, what will happen will happen. What's meant for you will find you, you know?
Oh, I just got chills. You're right. You're right. You're right. I lost my mom over a year ago. And that's one of the things I learned. Tomorrow is not promised. We have to live today, live in the moment. And we just can't control everything. So we just have to do the best we can. Tomorrow is going to come.
Yeah.
So I completely agree. Thank you for sharing that. So what is next for you? Can you share anything coming up?
Well, I mean, I also finished an indie film like a month ago, 2 months ago. So it'll be fun to see when that comes out and have everyone enjoy that one, hopefully. And just honestly, just the hustle continues, you know, auditioning and getting pinned for things, and just hoping that one of these sticks as well and keep the momentum going, you know.
It
I mean, I
will.
really want
Thank
to get into action. That's kind of like been the thing that like I'm realizing like I love it so much. And yeah, I
Yes.
mean,
I could see you in like a Fast and Furious type of film. Like
that would be kind of
totally.
fun. Or like, you know, The Boys. I love that show. I don't know if you've seen it, but like
The
that's
No, I haven't. Where can I find that?
it's on
What?
Prime. It's the next season is coming out soon, and like it's amazing. I love The Boys.
The
They have a
Boys.
lot of really
Okay.
cool female roles on it too. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it.
Ah.
Yeah.
We like the share. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and giving us your time and sharing part of your journey with us. I loved you in the movie,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to see you again. I know we're going to be seeing you again. So before I forget, please share with our community how they can find you, how they can find Atlas. Give us all the details.
So Atlas is on Netflix. We're still number one. So, you know, just go to your top, you know, the top film list and you'll find us there right now. And as for finding me, I'm on Instagram, so you can follow me. It's just my name, Adia Smith-Eriksson, because there aren't any other people with two of the most generic surnames put together. So really easy to find. Yeah, that's me.
You're awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. You made my day, and your light just shines bright. I'm sure we'll see you again.
Thank you so much. It was so
So
nice
thank
meeting
you.
you. Take care.
Very nice meeting you.
All
Thank
right.
you. And thank you, loves, for joining us on this episode of the AW Confidential Podcast. Talk to you soon.